According to a 2013 report from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, only 64% of children 17 and under live in households with two married parents. In a society that falls further away from God and seems like it's trying to tear families apart, it is vital that we preserve the family dynamic by consulting Christian counselors when needed. Having been through a divorce when I was away from God and having my second marriage restored by following God, I can have perspective from both points of view to show why God values a preserved marriage. First, I will talk about the history of Christian counseling, why it is important, and how churches can include them in their church ministries. Counseling started, as we know it today, in the 1920s in Germany. Before then, and even today in some remote parts of the globe, the elders in the tribes, villages, or in the families serve as counselors. Basically, you're talking to grandma and grandpa. Christian-based counseling, as we know it, started in 1970 when a Presbyterian pastor named Dr. J. Adams wrote a book entitled Competent to Counsel. Dr. Adams' book was controversial in that he disagreed with the notion that you would speak with non-Christian psychologists about family problems and family issues, such as marriages and things like that you're having problems with. The idea of Christian counseling took off from there and spawned the likes of Dr. James Dobson, who we know from the radio show Focus on a Family, which does just that. It focuses on the family with biblical principles. Dr. Dobson once said, "What is the biggest obstacle facing the family right now? It is overcommitment, time pressure. There is nothing that destroys a family more insidiously than hectic schedules and busy lives where spouses are too exhausted to communicate and too fatigued to talk to the kids. That frantic lifestyle is just as destructive as one involving outspoken sin. If Satan can't make you sin, he'll make you busy, and that's just about the same thing." Dr. Dobson is one who finds that Christian counseling is important in our lives, which God values. Let's talk about why Christian counseling is important. First way, impact on individuals. You've got grief counseling, financial planning, and premarital counseling for those seeking to get married. Second way, impact on married couples. You got family planning, such as adoptions and etc., versus the world family planning reduces the family with abortions and whatnot. Family planning in a Christian-based world is building the family up. You also have financial planning and marriage problem resolution. The impact it has on families, several ways. Behavioral issues with children. Financial planning, again, planning for college, empty nest syndrome, and then a grief counseling for those that have lost a spouse, child, or other family member. Christian counseling is important because it restores hope for individuals, restores marriage, and restores families. It is likely that the most popular topic discussed with Christian-based counseling, just as secular counseling, is going to be marriage problems. When speaking of marriage counseling, Christian counselors can share biblical advice on numerous topics. But one of the most important is problem resolution. And that's the real key here, is problem resolution. Christian counselors look to restore conflict with guidance from the Lord and teach couples how to do the same and become more complete spiritually. Christian counselors admittedly have a vested interest in marriages being restored because God values a marriage that is intact. Dr. Albert Mohler, who serves as president of the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, which is the flagship school of the Southern Baptist Convention and one of the largest seminaries in the world, says this about marriage. "We know that marriage, though central to human society, was not given to humanity for purely sociological reasons. Marriage was given to mankind by our Creator, who gifted us with this conventional institution for our health, our happiness, and for our human flourishing. Beyond this, believers know that marriage is given to us for our holiness as well." Churches can include counseling in many ways, through biblical financial management, such as Crown Financial, divorce care groups, widower groups. We have one at our church. Our pastor, it's called Women of Faith, and our pastor calls it WOOF. Single again groups is another way. Okay, those are just to name a few. Finally, at the end of the day, we always have the Bible that tells us what God thinks about all topics. Galatians 6:2 says, "Bear one another's burdens and fulfill the law of Christ." Bear each other's burdens, not share them with non-Christians. In closing, God values Christian counseling. It helps to restore what was once broken. God has equipped Christians to help each other in all situations, even though pastors usually lead that effort. In fact, while attending a marriage counseling session with the pastor dealing with communication, Tom and his wife, Grace, listened to the pastor as he said, "It is essential that husbands and wives know each other's likes and dislikes." He first addressed Tom. He says, "Can you name your wife's favorite flower?" He leaned over, touched his wife's arm, and said, "Is it Pillsbury?" So, as you can see, some need more help than others. Thank you so much. I hope you got as much out of this speech as I did preparing it. May God bless you.